Welcome back, I'm Felix, and this is 8 bizarre TV shows Gen X forgot they loved. I don't know if we forgot we loved them, but just not really talked about anymore. I mean, we were literally kids when a lot of these, when this is Captain Kangaroo, I mean, we were kids, so it's just not something to think about. I'm sure if you bring it up to a Gen Xer who actually watched it, they probably like, oh my god, I forgot all about that. So, well, I guess we did forget about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and let's go down memory lane.
7 ping pong balls. That's not enough. Well, I've got to get up to 10.
Well, what are you saying about the ping pong balls? Why do you want 10 ping pong balls?
Well, it's a surprise.
Remember when your favorite TV shows had puppets teaching life lessons, rock bands trapped in cartoons, and math detectives solving crimes? The 80s were pure TV chaos, a wild mix of science, singing, and sincere weirdness, and somehow we couldn't get enough. This is part 3 of our countdown of the strangest shows 80s kids forgot they loved. If you missed parts 1 and 2, don't.
Now, I did recognize a few at the beginning, but now a lot of these do not look familiar. They'd be like Paddington Bear, but I don't think that was necessarily Gen X.
Worry, we've dropped the links in the description. Now, before we jump in, be sure to like.
I remember this show. I can't remember the name of it, but I used to love watching this show.
And hype the video. It helps YouTube show this video to more retro TV fans just like you. And stick around for number 1, where a kids variety show went full neon and launched the careers of future pop icons. Now, let's dive into the countdown with number 8, Captain Kangaroo, CBS. Before children's TV became a flashing blur of toy tie-ins and screaming mascots, there was one guy who figured out that kids didn't need chaos, they just needed someone who gave a damn. That guy was Bob Keeshan, better known as Captain Kangaroo, because of his large overcoat with oversized kangaroo-like pockets. In 1955, at just 28 years old, Keeshan launched a weekday morning show for preschoolers on CBS, one that would somehow run for nearly 30 years. He'd started as Clarabelle the Clown on Howdy Doody, honking horns and getting pies in the face, but clearly had an existential crisis somewhere along the way. His new vision? A slower-paced world built on the warm relationship between grandparents and children. In other words, free babysitting with educational value. Every morning, the captain unlocked the doors to the treasure house, a cozy wood-paneled space that looked like your grandma's living room if she was really into puppets. Helping him out was Mr. Green Jeans, played by Hugh Branham, who wore the same denim overalls for 3 decades and brought live animals on set like some kind of low-budget Wild Kingdom. The man played guitar.
Just sitting here grinning at you. Like, I remember watching these shows, like Captain Kangaroo. If I remember correctly, my mom was a big fan of Captain Kangaroo. Sort of how, like, Gen X was not a fan of Barney, but, hey, it's not for you, it's for the kids.
Sang songs and somehow convinced a network to let him wrangle rabbits on live television. Oh, and the real MVP? Cosmo Allegretti, the unsung puppeteer who voiced and created nearly every beloved character you remember. Mr. Moose, Bunny Rabbit, Dancing Bear, Grandfather Clock, and many more.
My friends. And you are my friends. And don't let anybody tell you that you're not my friends.
Mr. Moose.
He was also the artist behind the Magic Drawing Board, which blew our 4-year-old minds by turning a single line into a full story. Cosmo did it all, and most of us didn't even know his name. Man deserved an Emmy and a vacation. The show mixed gentle silliness with subtle education. Tom Terrific cartoons, picture pages with Bill Cosby, which is awkward now but delightful then, and Keeshan's book readings that actually sent kids racing to their local libraries. Remember library?
Picture page with Bill Cosby. That was actually a lot of fun. He had a pen that made noise when he wrote with it. Now, I don't know if the pen really made the noise or they just, dubbed it in later, but it was pretty cool to watch, actually.
Here's everybody. Oh, and then there was Slim Goodbody. Oh, Slim Goodbody. John Burstein showed up in the late 70s wearing a flesh-colored unitard with the human body's internal organs, bones, and muscles painted on it in biologically accurate locations. The man looked like a walking anatomy chart who'd wandered onto the set by mistake.
We have work to do and not a moment to lose. The children of Nutra City.
I don't remember him transforming. Was that just part of Captain Kangaroo? Because when I remember him, he was already in that. And there was a Mr. Slim Goodbody tour, like people who would go around as him, like his friend, helping out to tell you about the body.
We need our help.
Your output is my input, GB.
While the captain's world was all puppets and gentle
that
absurdity, Slim would burst in singing educational songs about the digestive system, complete with a full-on display of the intestines. For kids expecting Mr. Moose's ping pong ball gag, suddenly getting a musical number about your pancreas from a guy whose liver was visible on his chest, that was a tonal shift. By design, Captain Kangaroo was the antithesis of chaos. No violence, no fast cuts, no shouting. But network TV is a cruel mistress. CBS trimmed the hour-long show to 30 minutes in 1981.
I don't remember it being an hour. Oh my goodness. Hour-long show. How did he manage to get an hour-long kids show?
Shuffled it to awkward time slots where no preschooler was actually awake, and finally canceled it in 1984. The captain wasn't done though. He revived the show for PBS in 1986, mixing old clips with new lessons until 1993, all while campaigning nationally against TV violence and toy-driven cartoons. The man had principles and wasn't afraid to be the least fun guy at the network upfronts. Keeshan passed in 2004, but his influence never faded. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Sesame Street both owe a debt to his gentle revolution, proof that you didn't need to scream at kids to teach them something. No.
What? Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers don't owe him a debt? Anyways. I don't know if it's an AI voice or a person just putting names in there. Yeah, those shows had nothing to do with Captain... I'm just going to move on.
Number 7, Picture Pages, CBS and Nickelodeon.
Picture pages, time to get your picture pages, time to get your crayons and your pencils.
Before kids had learning apps and touchscreen games, they had a squeaky pen, a workbook from the grocery store, and a guy on TV calmly walking them through Connect the Dots. That was Picture Pages. Short, weirdly mesmerizing, and somehow burned into the brains of every early Nickelodeon kid. The concept started way earlier than most remember. Picture Pages was created in 1974 by Julius Olenek for a Pittsburgh PBS station. It went national in 1978 as part of Captain Kangaroo, where Bob Keeshan handled the drawing board duties like a kindly TV grandpa. In 1980, Bill Cosby took over the segment, and that's the version that most 80s kids remember. His delivery was low
Yeah, I don't remember the other one. I really don't.
and friendly. More cool substitute teacher than cartoon host. The real star, though, was Mortimer Ichabod Marker, aka M.I., a chunky...
That was the thing I was talking about. It like made noise. Like I said, I don't know if it really made noise, but I always wanted one.
pen that chirped, squeaked, and clicked with every line Cosby drew. It was just enough sound design to feel like a sidekick.
You have butter plus fly equals butterfly. Let's look for it. There it is.
You could even buy a toy version
Yeah, it was definitely dubbed over.
marker, because this was the 80s. If it beeped, it was merch. The idea was simple. Cosby did the activity page on screen while kids followed along in their own workbooks at home. These were often picked up for free at local supermarkets, which meant Picture Pages was one of the rare shows that required actual homework to keep up with. Episodes covered everything from counting to patterns to basic logic, all wrapped in that geometric synth-funk intro that somehow made math feel like a dance party and a trapper keeper. When Captain Kangaroo got the axe from CBS in 1984, Picture Pages didn't disappear. Nickelodeon grabbed the Cosby segments and ran them as educational bumpers for years, all the way through 1993. Nestled between cartoons like David the Gnome or Inspector Gadget, these little 2-minute brain breaks quietly taught a generation the difference between greater than and less than before they even hit kindergarten. Revisiting it now comes with some baggage, given Cosby's later legal troubles. While none of that changes the cultural footprint of Picture Pages, it adds a layer of complexity to what was once a squeaky clean childhood memory. Still, as education...
I'm going to disagree a little. It's still a squeaky clean childhood memory. It wasn't like he was messing with us. I'm not excusing what he did by any stretch of imagination, but I wouldn't say that's a reason to discard the joy you had from watching it. Just remember that part of it and ignore the rest. Now, if he tries to do something new, then definitely, like, no. The stuff he did before everything came out, yeah, I mean, it was revolutionary in a lot of ways, but I don't think we should take away from it. And I have good memories watching Picture Page, so I'm going to hold him to those.
TV goes, this one punched above its weight. It was low-tech, no frills, and decades ahead of the interactive learning trend. Blue's Clues owes it a handshake. Leapfrog owes it royalties. And if you were a kid in the 80s, that chirping marker? Yeah, it's still squeaking around in your head somewhere. Number 6. The Edison Twins. CBC and Disney Channel. In 1982, most TV kids solved problems with heart-to-heart talks, teamwork, or magic. But then there were the Edison Twins.
I was talking to my wife about this. Like, I remember a show, they were brother and sister, and they had a younger... I could not think of the name of it. The Edison Twins. Oh my God. I actually was telling her about an episode I remembered where they were trying to get a friend used to running in the hot weather, and later on in the episode that came in handy, he was able to run a long distance in the hot weather. Wow. I don't know if you notice I like this reminiscent stuff.
2 Canadian teens who use nothing but brains, science, and the occasional electromagnet to save the day.
Weight evenly distributed? What kind of soil did you find this in?
Mud. That's the part that makes me suspicious. This thing would only weigh about 40 pounds, just under 20 kilograms.
The show launched on CBC in 1982 and later hit Disney Channel in the US, quietly producing 6...
I don't remember seeing this on the Disney Channel. I remember seeing this on PBS. If Disney picked it up, that's great, but I saw this on PBS.
Seasons and 78 episodes by the end of 1986. For a show about teenage science sleuths, that's an impressive run. At the center were Tom and Annie Edison, fraternal twins who turned every everyday mystery into a science fair project. No aliens, no superpowers, just pure physics and a lot of homemade gadgets. Their little brother Paul was the chaos agent. Their friend Lance, the lovable klutz, and the local cop. Sergeant Paganini, not Pagani as some fans misremember, popped up regularly to make it all feel official, or at least slightly supervised. Every episode followed a formula, a real-world problem, a science-based solution, and then a short animated segment at the end breaking down the principles involved.
Dimensional Time Warp Machine is just a symmetrical wooden frame with a full-sized mirror in it. Because the frame is symmetrical and the mirror divides it exactly in half, the mirror reflects the front half of the frame, and it creates an illusion of the whole frame.
It was like Bill Nye before Bill Nye. The cast was loaded with future talent. Andrew Sabiston played Tom and later became a prolific voice actor. Marnie McPhail as Annie went from the Edison Twins to Braceface, JoJo's Circus, and even Star Trek First Contact. Sonny Besson Thrasher, the youngest sibling Paul, became a staple of Nelvana's animated universe, including Care Bears projects. Milan Chalov, who played Lance, went on to direct episodes of Dexter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Station 19, and Brian George, aka Sergeant Paganini, would later show up as Babu Bhatt on Seinfeld and Raj's dad on The Big Bang Theory.
Oh, I tell you who that was. I knew he looked familiar. He also was Dr. Bashir's dad. If you don't know who Dr. Bashir is, you need to watch Deep Space Nine. Well, that's interesting to see what all they went on to do. Wait, was she the Board Queen? I'm going to look that up now.
Is That Who I Think It Is moment belongs to Corey Haim. He appeared early on as Larry, a supporting character who showed up before Lucas, before The Lost Boys, but only by a couple years. Still, it's enough to give Gen X viewers a full-on time capsule flashback. Unlike some teen shows that aged up their cast in college, the Edison Twins kept Tom and Annie in high school for the entire run, solving crimes, stopping scams, and casually busting out the periodic table like it was no big deal.
I'm still a little confused. We know Mike didn't do it. Howard will be easy to discredit.
What makes you think Howard didn't do it?
I don't think Howard's capable of lighting a match.
The whole thing was shot in and around Toronto, co-produced by Nelvana and Atlantis Films, and syndicated just widely enough to stick in the memory banks of kids on both sides of the border. It never got the deluxe DVD treatment, but it never really vanished either. Reruns, bootlegs, and now streaming have kept it alive, because for a certain kind of brainy kid, this was the show that proved you didn't need a cape or a magic sword. Just a working knowledge of magneticism, a lab partner you trusted, and a cop willing to let teenagers handle actual criminal investigations. Number 5, Romper Room.
Oh man, that just took me back. It's like, wow. I remember, now Romper Room, I never watched Romper Room, but I heard about Romper Room. If it didn't come on PBS, I probably didn't watch it. But yeah, I heard of it, but I never watched it.
Syndicated. Remember when you swore your local Miss Whatever could actually see you through the TV? Yeah, that magic mirror was our first brush with surveillance anxiety, and we loved it. Back in 1953, husband and wife duo Bert and Nancy Claster struck preschool gold with Romper Room, a televised kindergarten where kids sang songs, played games, and drank milk under the watchful eye of a relentlessly cheerful teacher. Nancy hosted the original Baltimore version as Miss Nancy, but here's the genius part. They franchised the whole operation. Your Romper Room had Miss Marianne in LA, Miss Molly in New York, Miss Sally in Baltimore, or if you lived in Biloxi, Mississippi, Mr. Dom. Yeah, the only male host in the show's history. The Clasters basically invented the McDonald's model for preschool TV, training over 500 hosts to clone that same sunny classroom vibe in every market. And if you thought getting into preschool was competitive now, you should have seen the Romper Room waiting list. In 1959, one reporter noted that the Baltimore waiting list was so long, some preschoolers wouldn't get their TV debut until they were 40. Parents were literally signing up their kids before they were born. When one host left her local station, the waiting list was over 3 years long. All that just for a chance to dance around, smile, and sing songs on television.
I didn't know any of that stuff. Jesus. So it was a real classroom. It just was broadcast. Wow.
I've been playing a very hard game with Pamela, and I'm glad you're back in Romper Room to enjoy it. Do you know you're right?
And who could forget Mr. Doobie, the show's oversized bumblebee brought on to teach good manners in a way preschoolers could actually remember. There was also a Mr. Don't Be who demonstrated what not to do, the bad example to make the good one stick. Then came the magic mirror. At the end of every episode, your local miss would gaze through an empty frame and recite,
Romper, bumper, stomper, tell me, do. Magic mirror, tell me today, have all my friends had fun at play? Today's a special day for Deanna and Scotty and Timmy and Alan and Terry and Indra, and a special day for Colin and Tammy.
Spoiler, she couldn't see a thing. Those names came from cards that parents mailed in, and for every kid who got mentioned, thousands felt heartbreak before snack time. And between the Doobie morals and don't be warnings, a steady stream of toy plugs. The show used a Mattel Jack-in-the-Box for its opening and closing segments, complete with Pop Goes the Weasel.
Happy Jack says it's...
But things really ramped up in 1969 when Hasbro bought Claster Television, the production company behind the show. Suddenly, Romper Room became a showcase for Hasbro toys. Weebles, Mr. Potato Head, and eventually Hasbro's own branded Jack-in-the-Box.
Yeah. Gotta hate when that happens. They took it and said, now we'll put nothing but toys on it and sell it. Went from something pure and innocent to half-hour commercial.
Kids were unpaid pitchmen, hawking products they never even owned. Eventually, a watchdog group called Action for Children's Television had enough and came after the show for its blatant product integration. The network backed off the explicit promotions, but behind the scenes, the show was basically a controlled chaos. Preschoolers having full meltdowns mid-song, hosts developing secret hand signals just to keep things from going off the rails, and at least one kid who definitely ate paste on live television. The Miss Whatevers tried their best, but preschoolers don't take direction well.
I think when we come back to Romper Room, we should all have a lot more fun and play with Miss Molly and you.
One host admitted she kept graham crackers in her pocket like some kind of kid whisperer, bribing them to sit still for just 30 more seconds.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. You know, anyone who's good gets a graham cracker.
By the early 80s, Romper Room was losing ground to Sesame Street's diversity and research-based approach. In 1981, they tried a reboot, Romper Room and Friends. The show kept the magic mirror and Doobie, but added new puppet characters. Kimball, a full costume character, Up the Clown Puppet, and Granny Cat.
Oh, hi, Granny. Hello, Up. Did you get my dinner invitation?
Well, yes, Up, I did.
Well?
They produced a national syndicated version hosted by Miss Molly McCloskey in Baltimore, complete with pre-taped educational skits featuring the new puppets. They even ditched Pop Goes the Weasel for an original theme song and threw in segments from British shows like Paddington.
Flip-flop up, beady-my-loo, boppity-stoppity, romper-room.
Despite the makeover, ratings kept falling. The show finally signed off in 1994, Magic Mirror and all. For nearly 50 years, Romper Room taught manners, encouraged fear, and gave parents a break. Sure, there was some toy pushing and plenty of kids never heard their names through that magic mirror, but it did what it set out to do, and for a lot of us, that was enough. Now hey, if you're enjoying this ride through the strangest corners of 80s kids television, go ahead and smash that like button. Subscribe and drop a comment telling us the weirdest kids show you remember. You might just see it pop up in a future video.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Let's get back to the countdown with number 4, Howdy Doody, NBC.
Now, I've heard of Howdy Doody. This is before my time. I never watched Howdy Doody. I remember seeing a little bit here and there, and that did not appeal to me.
Look at all the kids at home and all the kids in the gallery. What time is it, kids? Howdy Doody time.
It's Howdy Doody time. Now, if you're Gen X, you've probably heard that phrase. And if you're like me, you've also heard your parents talk about this freckle-faced puppet like he was a beloved family member. Now, here's the thing though. The Howdy Doody show started in 1947 and ended in 1960, which means most of us were still theoretical. So why on earth do we remember Doodyville and Buffalo Bob like we were there? Well, because the 1970s wouldn't let it die. While we were watching Super Friends and eating Count Chocula, our parents were drowning in nostalgia for the good old days. American Graffiti, Happy Days. The baby boomer nostalgia machine was in overdrive. Happy Days, a show that was already about nostalgia for the 50s, did an episode about a Howdy Doody look-alike contest in 1975 featuring Buffalo Bob Smith and the original puppet. It was nostalgia within nostalgia, and viewers ate it up. That success probably convinced someone that a full revival was a good idea. In 1976, a brand new Howdy Doody show hit syndication.
Say, kid.
I wouldn't necessarily say this is Gen X. But, well, because Gen X is, from the 70s to the 80s now? I don't know this time frame. But I think it's the 70s to the 80s, so I guess it is Gen X.
What time is it? Okay, gang, let's go.
Same Buffalo Bob, same Clarabelle, played by Lou Anderson this time, only now it was in color and filmed in Florida with a bigger peanut gallery.
Oh, it's Howdy Doody time. It's Howdy Doody time.
The puppet even had real hair styled in a contemporary 70s cut. The show looked like someone dug up a time capsule and forced it to perform. Part children's show, part...
Wait, is that a skirt or is that shorts? Because she looked like she was terrified to bend over.
Looked like someone dug up a time capsule and forced it to
those are
perform.
shorts.
Part children's show, part Uncanny Valley experiment. They cranked out 130 episodes in 6 months before NBC pulled the plug, but that was enough to cement Howdy into Gen X consciousness. So, before...
No, it's not. I don't remember this at all. And I guarantee you, if you ask more Gen Xers about this, they probably don't remember it either. They remember the other one. Because they did rerun the other one. So, I don't remember this version at all.
Dragged Howdy back from the grave, what made the original show such a big deal? Well, I'm glad you asked. For 13 years, Howdy Doody packed the peanut gallery, bleachers full of kids screaming "It's Howdy Doody time" on cue. That peanut gallery was so iconic that when Charles Schulz wanted to syndicate his comic strip Lil Folks, the syndicate executives named it Peanuts after the show. Schulz reportedly hated that title for the rest of his life. Now, behind the scenes, the show had serious drama. The original Howdy puppet was created by puppeteer Frank Paris, but Buffalo Bob Smith owned the character rights. When they fought over money, Paris literally kidnapped the puppet and walked out of NBC studios 4 hours before a live broadcast. The network scrambled, invented a cover story about Howdy getting plastic surgery on the campaign trail, and hired Disney animator Mel Shaw to design a replacement. The puppet we all remember? That's the second Howdy. The hostage situation worked out great for branding. The show also starred Clarabelle the Clown, the mute seltzer-spraying chaos agent who communicated only through honking horns.
Yes, what is it, Clarabelle? I was just telling the boys and girls something. So this is... up here. Oh, a yardstick.
When the show finally ended on September 24th, 1960, Clarabelle broke his decades-long silence to say 2 words. Goodbye, kids. Fade to black. The truth is, Howdy Doody never really went away. He was repackaged, referenced, and absorbed into pop culture DNA. We knew the name before we ever saw the show, like the Brady Bunch Kids or Gilligan's Island reruns. We inherited the nostalgia secondhand like a used lunchbox at a garage sale. So the next time your parents bring up Howdy Doody, just nod and smile. For boomers, it was their childhood. For Gen X, it was one of the first recycled nostalgia loops we ever lived through.
I don't know if it's the first. But yeah, that's what I said. I don't remember the new one, the newer one. I just remember this one.
Number 3, Square One Television,
yes.
PBS.
I used to love Square One Television, or Square One. I don't know, I just love that show.
In the late 80s, PBS looked around at the math scores and said, we need to fix this.
No, this guy, a lot of them, when Square went off, wound up in other TV shows. Most of you probably recognize him. He's since passed away. Some of you may know him from like gangster shows or something like that too, because he played a judge, a gangster, this and that. He played a preacher in what was not Iron Fist, Power Man. Oh my God, it wasn't called Power Man. Nick Cage. Luke Cage. Oh my God, I couldn't think of the name of the show. He was Luke Cage's dad. But yeah, it's funny because I remember when I first started seeing him on other things, like, oh, that's the guy. And yeah, to me, it's weird when you see child actors from TV shows that were kids shows doing other stuff that's nowhere near what they were doing. It just, to me, it's like a little, oh my God, you could act like that? That's like, I can't remember his name, but there's a guy on Sesame Street. He played a pimp before Sesame Street.
With sketch comedy. Enter Square One Television, the show that turned equations into entertainment and made math cool, or at least weird enough.
Oh, that tornado game. I used to wish that was a real game. Let me see if I can get to go back just enough. I can never get this to go back. Oh, of course I did.
In the late 80s.
This was, they had an animated tornado that went around grabbing what it needed to do the equation. I used to wish that was a real game. Oh no, the tornado was the bad guy. This is the good guy here. That's what it was.
80s, PBS looked around at the math scores and said, we need to fix this. With sketch comedy. Enter Square One Television, the show that turned equations into entertainment and made math cool, or at least weird enough to keep kids watching. Debuting in 1987 and running for 5 seasons, Square One was built by the same folks behind Sesame Street, the children's television workshop, and it showed. Instead of a chalkboard and a scolding teacher, you got parodies, music videos, game shows, and crime-fighting detectives using decimals to solve mysteries.
Let me make up a mathematics problem. You're telling me that the answer will be 3. How do you know if I'm going to make it up that the answer is always 3?
The format was pure variety show chaos. Sketches spoofed everything from General Hospital as General Mathbiddle to Late Night with David Letterman as Late Afternoon with David Numberman. There were math-themed music videos that looked and sounded suspiciously like top 40 hits, some featuring real-life guests like Kid and Play and the Fat Boys. And they slapped. Try getting Angle Dance out of your head. You can't, can ya?
Angle dance, find the point where 2 lines merge.
Then came the icons. Mathman, a Pac-Man spoof with a green orb and a helmet, had to navigate a grid by selecting correct math answers. Pick Wrong and Mr. Glitch, a tornado-shaped chaos goblin, would swoop in and devour him. This wasn't just a cartoon, it was a battle between numerical accuracy and literal doom.
There's one now. Mathman.
Then there was MathNet, the crown jewel of the series. It followed square-jawed detectives George Franklin, played by Joe Howard, and Kate Monday, played by Beverly Leach, as they cracked cases using math. Shot in deadpan dragnet style, it played every ridiculous math pun straight, and it worked. In Season 3, Kate was replaced by Pat Tuesday, played by Tony D.
Now, the woman that played Monday, she popped up in a show that I watched with my mom. I'm like, that's her. And she was the villain. I was like, oh. And by then, I was older, but still, it was just kind of, like I said, it's weird to see someone who you saw one way and then they're a complete opposite.
When the show relocated from Los Angeles to New York. Now, contrary to popular belief, this wasn't just a creative refresh.
I guess I could cancel some things, make some calls, send some faxes.
Great. Look.
Actress Beverly Leach didn't make the move due to personal and financial reasons. The transition was real-life practical, not just scripted. Another major name that popped up in early MathNet episodes was James Earl Jones, and yes, that voice is him, but he never actually appeared on screen. He voiced Chief Thad Green in a limited capacity, mainly narrating case summaries with gravitas you don't usually associate with fractions, and game show spoofs were a staple, but Who's Counting was a fast-paced counting game with bonus rounds. Piece of the Pie challenged teams to solve percentage problems, all about dividing up that mathematical pie. Despite its brainy goals, the show had solid entertainment cred. It was colorful, funny, a little surreal, and way better than whatever was happening in your actual math class.
You know, I don't talk about kids shows they should bring back, but I think they should bring this one back. I know PBS is in trouble for stupid reasons, but this definitely showed that someone should figure out how to bring back, like, even on Netflix, if they want to add it to their kids shows, or Hulu or Disney wanted to add to their kids show, I think Square One should be brought back. It was a fun show to watch. Actually, I think they did bring it back, but they ditched a lot of it. They changed a lot of the format. But yeah, I think they should try to bring it back.
Over 5 seasons, it picked up 3 daytime Emmys. Not bad for a show where the climax of the week involves someone saying, wait, that's not a prime number. Square One stayed alive in reruns through the early 90s and even had a short-lived revival called Math Talk aimed at teachers. The bottom line is this. The show made math feel like a mystery to solve, a puzzle to decode, or, on the good days, a dance floor to conquer. Number 2, Kid Video.
Now this one I really liked. This was a show I liked, and I wish it would come back as well. And I think most of the people that were in this quit acting, actually.
NBC and CBS.
It's giving me rockin', it's getting me moving, oh.
Now, Kid Video wasn't just a cartoon. It was a neat...
Was that Cousin Oliver? Did he play that character? I think that was the same actor. I never thought about it.
neon explosion piped straight into Saturday morning cartoons. It blasted onto NBC in 1984 and somehow turned a garage band, boombox, and an evil record executive into one of the most gloriously bizarre shows of the decade. Here's the hook. A live-action teen band gets zapped into an animated world called The Flip Side by a tyrannical, music-hating villain named Master Blaster. Once inside, the band, Kid, Carla, Ash, and Wiz, tries to outwit him and his furry foot soldiers, the Copycats. And while most of those goons were feline-themed, not all were literal cats. The 80s cartoon logic was flexible like that. Each episode kicked off in...
They want cats? I'm not even going to ask.
Instantly flipped to animation as the band entered the Flip Side, a surreal pop art dimension stuffed with synths, sight gags, and sparkly chaos. Their sidekick was Glitter, a tiny fairy who sounded like she was mainlining sugar and glitter bombs, and she low-key stole every scene she was in. This wasn't just a cartoon with a catchy soundtrack. Music was the show's entire backbone. They didn't just reference pop hits, they played them. Full-on music videos were embedded into the episodes, and every week wrapped with a live-action performance by the band. There was even a Kid Video album released in Israel, which has become a collector's grail now.
I wonder why it was released in Israel. Was it not released in the U.S.? That's just weird.
Circulating online in digital bootlegs like Musical Contraband. And yeah, this cast had some serious before they were famous energy. Robbie Rist, who played Wiz, had already been the infamous Cousin Oliver on The Brady Bunch, Dr. Z on Galactica 1980, and would later voice Michelangelo in the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Ryan Scott played Kid, and while he didn't stay in the spotlight, he shifted into voice and sound work behind the scenes. Gabriella Nelson, who played Carla, didn't vanish from Hollywood entirely. She stepped back, but still has recent acting credits. Steve Alterman, who played Ash, stayed in the music biz, just behind the camera. And Kathy Cavadini, the voice of Glitter, well, she'd go on to headline as Blossom in the Powerpuff Girls. Behind the scenes, the show was a licensing nightmare.
If you ask me, that's a couple of weeks too many.
Any sign of the fortress yet?
No, but I know we're getting close.
Every episode hinged on actual music videos, and once those licenses expired, reruns and home video releases turned into legal gridlock. Reruns often had to swap out songs or cut segments entirely, which, for a show this music-driven, felt like losing the spine. A third season was pitched, but collapsed under budget issues and the shift from NBC to CBS reruns. Then, things got even murkier when the rights changed hands, bouncing from DIC to Saban and eventually winding up in Disney's labyrinth of acquisitions. Naturally, the lost media crowd refuses to let it die. Fans have stitched together off-air VHS recordings, tracked down foreign dubs, and rebuilt full episodes with the original soundtrack.
That's a bit much. I'm a fan of the show, but I'm not doing all that. Damn.
We know which episode aired where, which songs were cut, and why the Israeli album has two different cover variants. It's an underground movement, but with pastel jackets and drum machines. In the end, Kid Video was half cartoon, half music video, all attitude. It was too weird to last, too rad to forget, and way too tangled in licensing red tape to ever get the release it deserves.
I think they should bring this back, but make all original music, so that way they don't have to worry about it. I know that would be harder than just going to see what music they can license. It might be more cost effective just to make their own music. You know, plan out the episodes ahead of time, then that way you can figure out the music and get the music together, and there you go. It's just an idea.
If you watched it, you remember the rush. If you didn't, picture Saturday morning cartoons getting struck by lightning while MTV was playing in the background. That's the flip side. Number 1, Kids Incorporated.
I remember this. This was on for a while, got canceled, came back, got canceled and came back. I think it came back twice. And I remember watching this, I want to say PBS first, and then it was on Disney, if I remember. Oh yeah, it says syndicated. So yeah, I do remember, actually, was it PBS? But I do remember watching it someplace else, and then it was on Disney, and Disney kind of turned it into the Mickey Mouse Clubhouse in a way to me.
Syndication and Disney Channel. Kids Incorporated was where 10-year-olds belted out Madonna and Michael Jackson hits under a glowing stage.
I'm sure this was a licensing nightmare to do reruns.
Red asbestos. No, seriously. A giant asbestos fire curtain loomed over the stage in early episodes, like a very special episode just waiting to happen. The show kicked off in 1984 in syndication, ran for 2 seasons, and then got scooped up by Disney Channel in 1986, which kept new episodes going all the way through January of 1994. Reruns didn't vanish until 1996, giving the show a near-decade run and a generation of kids who thought top 40 covers and neon leggings were just how the world worked. Every week, viewers tuned in to The Place, the kids' own nightclub/hangout/concert venue, renamed with accidental brilliance when the A in Palace flickered out. The setup was part sitcom, part music video, and part sugar-fueled chaos. Storylines followed a rotating cast of ultra-talented tweens juggling school, friendships, and existential dance battles, all while casually dropping in a live performance of a Janet Jackson cover.
What have you done for me lately? Ooh, yeah.
And here's the kicker. This place was a straight-up star factory. Stacey Ferguson, yeah, Fergie, joined when she was barely out of elementary school and stuck around for 6 seasons. Martika made the leap from Kids Incorporated to a chart-topping hit with Toy Soldiers. Jennifer Love Hewitt, credited simply as Love Hewitt, was a regular before she became Hollywood's teen scream queen. And yeah, you best believe that was Mario Lopez drumming and dancing around in the background.
I didn't even see him back there. I don't really remember him being on the show, but it was on for a long time.
He was just prepping for his Saved by the Bell glow-up. Add in Rosanne Patterson, Renee Sands, and Eric Balfour, and you've got one of the most overqualified cast rosters in kids' TV history. For every future star, though, there was chaos backstage. Cast turnover was relentless. Some kids aged out, others had voice changes, growth spurts, or just vanished between seasons without a single in-universe explanation. A few exits like Martika or Rasan were written into the plot. Others, gone like they never existed. Jerry Sherrill, one of the original cast members, left after just one season, later admitting he couldn't handle the weirdo storylines, and fair enough. This was a show where one episode might involve alien invaders and the next would slam you with a straight-faced lesson about honesty, sandwiched between a Whitney Houston ballad and a group dance number. Behind the scenes, the producers were constantly trimming lyrics to make pop songs Saturday morning safe, though, let's be honest, some eyebrow raisers still slip through. Between rehearsals, choreo, studio tape...
Oh man, I'm just sitting here listening because it's just like, I remember all of this, or remember watching this, and I actually this was a show I could watch with my mom and sister. We would all three watch it, and we had fun watching it. So it's rare that you get a show that even the parents were wanting to watch. And I think it was mainly because of the music. It wasn't, now I think this is Kids Bop before Kids Bop. I just thought of that.
And full season shoots all jammed into one calendar year, the young cast basically lived at the studio, turning Kids Incorporated into a training ground for both future fame and future burnout. By 1994, the party was over. Disney pulled the plug, citing budget issues and the end of its MGM agreement, and honestly, even Disney couldn't keep that machine running forever. Still, if you were a kid in the 80s or early 90s, Kids Incorporated was peak playground fantasy. A neon club where kids ran the show, wore way too much denim, and broke into pop hits like it was completely normal. The show might have been weird, chaotic, and potentially hazardous to your health, but...
It's funny, I don't like musicals, but Kid Video and this were two shows I used to like back then. Go figure.
But it was unforgettable. And there you have it. 8 of the weirdest TV shows Gen X loved.
Okay, that was fun. I brought back a lot of memories. Small Wonder was another syndicated show, and I think they used to come on together. That's why I remember this on a different show, on a different channel, and then it was on Disney. And, man, just thinking about all this shit, there was tons of shows back then that came and went. We used to watch. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. All right, don't forget to like, subscribe, and everyone take care. Later.